Good afternoon. New week ahead. Pretty excited. Lots of data, news from war, and basically maybe a deal that's about to happen. What I saw right away is that we are still above gamma. There is sign that some money is trapped below gamma with some equal lows on NQ. We did sweep previous week low, so that will be all gone. Now the support is at 29 to 70, 250-ish. So you have major support here and then a major block of order on both sides. Because we wick the lows, close the body within the previous swing low, it led to a bullish action. So now what we're going to be looking for is a higher high. We need a higher high without price action breaking below 200 trauma. So below 29,300, you really want price action to respect the 20 trauma and then continue into a higher high. So that is my what I'm looking for the start of the week. Now, also something to mention is the divergence. The last divergence we had here, volume was rising and then the price was descending, led to a reversal after a lower low. Now we have descending volume and price is rising. So there could be another reversal. I If this is a lower high, we're going for a lower low. I do see a bounce in this area here because there's a lot of liquidity, a lot of bullish liquidity, and it's also gamma, so dealers are gonna probably edge their position and into buying. It could either be option contracts or more shares. Just keep your eyes out for at least this area for a bounce. There's probably going to be a good opportunity here if it's a higher low. If it is a higher low, now you have a head, shoulder, and then there's going to be uh, another shoulder over here, leading into a higher high, obviously. So, that being said, that is NQ. Now, oil's a different story. Oil had some really good price action after the meltdown. It did create a lower low and then a higher low into a lower high. Now, this is a pretty steep drop. I do think that because it is so steep, there could be a bounce. So I would check oil. If there's no deal with Iran, I would assume oil will continue rising back above 100. If there is a deal, then it's going to create a lower low and go back into the $90 range. If it does go back in $90 range, I would expect a reversal. There's going to be some good opportunity. We've already tested 200T, and I mean, the reversal was absolutely bonkers. That was a great opportunity here to get some money. I mean, that was fantastic. It's a full 23% off of that. That's a lot. So you want to keep your eyes on those bounce. We just had one here, so obviously if we do retest the 95.22 price, we could possibly form a higher low and then just bolt, right? Like create a higher high. So that's something I'm gonna be watching. The resistance is right here, 97.60. So keep your stop loss tight. If it does bounce, at least you won't be caught. Energy is now slowing down. That's a pretty good downtrend. Watch the reaction at 2.8. 2.8 is value area low. There could be a bounce here. If it doesn't bounce, it's going to go to 2.7. That will also be a higher low if it does. for a continuation. If it does bounce here, it's going to go create a higher high, possibly 3.2. This is quite a lot of volume into the previous weeks. So there could be a continuation here. Metal. Gold kind of has been stuck. It failed. It did retest above the trend line, and it channel's still right there. And then you have this nice trend, and then I expected this to be just a false break, but I guess the channel is going to be respected. So I still expect the price to go and break above POC at one point and then lead into a retest of value high, which would be 48.65. So that'd be either in the coming week or the beginning of June, somewhere thereabout. This is likely a higher low. These are clean shoulders that could lead into a much higher price. I mean, if you look at the previous 2050 200, it leads into uptrend, retest, uptrend, retest, uptrend, and it kept breaking until it found too much selling pressure. To me, that's just a retest. That's a lower high, retest into a higher low, and it should create a higher high. So keep your eyes on 51, 121. Obviously, if you are going to swing this, there's the trend line's right there. If it does break the channel, it's going to go way higher. But as far as right now, I mean, this is just right there for the taking. There's some good opportunity here. Channel's still respected, and I doubt that it'll stay in that area. Even if it goes back to 47.12, there's still pretty good opportunity. I mean, that's at 45.11, so still keep your eyes on that. Silver came out and retested the trend line. It's a little off, but even then, it still retested it. Yeah, this channel was pretty neat. It came out, retest, and now it's outside again. So if it does recover 76,350, it's gonna go for 78.7 and then possibly 85.2 into a higher high. I do expect a higher high depending on how um, the deliveries happens in June. 'Cause there is some in June from the Comex, so just keep your eyes on that. And you can always use um, the COT website that I shared to get to see where all the buyers and sellers are, where basically all the funds are. That will give you a good idea as to if people are already in trade from here and leading into higher, or did they sold off at the lower high. Because it failed to break the previous swing high and the higher high. So if this is a lower high, it could lead into more downside. I mean, I would still look at previous month low. If it does go for previous month low and then kind of consolidate and then go back again, that will be into a higher high. But it's either right now it's going for it, or it's going for a lower low off the previous swing low. So there's two potential, but they're both like there's opportunity here, and it's silver, so a couple points, a couple dollars is the difference. It can be really good. What I do see is the volume is descending, and then the price is also descending. So this could really go back into the equal low. If silver goes back into the equal lows because of its volume descending, this is almost the same, but it's nothing crazy, but there's a potential to retest these blocks of support 44.20 and then 4300 if silver starts falling. So it would still be in range, and gold has just been ranging. So at some point, this is all gonna compound liquidity, and then it's gonna go somewhere. But I wouldn't expect a lower low because a that's two peaks, two bottoms. I would expect another peak. Honestly, I would rather it look go low, but would it go to 3,700? Like that's just really low. It would absolutely just destroy this price action. But as far as I'm concerned, there's some equal lows previously made in September of 2025. So 3,700 could be a potential purchase for or heavy purchase for buyers. Just keep your eyes on that. That's at some point there's going to be a catalyst that's going to either melt this or break it out of its range. But as far as I'm concerned, silver's with its volume, it definitely looks like it wants some low or at least a higher low. Copper's my favorite because it tells you what's happening in the market and the sentiment. So as far as right now, I mean, we're bullish, right? It's all bullish. I'm gonna be concerned when copper goes back below this low here, 5.8. That's when the market structure break will be valid because that's the first break of structure, that's the second break of structure, and then usually from that point it'll cause a lower low. But as far as right now, series of lower highs and higher lows. We're up, we're going up. This is previous high. It did attempt. Why would it not? There's an under over here. It should continue. If copper continues, silver and gold should gain a bit from it. But at the same time, copper is its own thing. It's possible that copper just gets more than silver and gold and just they don't follow and they consolidate more. So I did watch a few things that I wanted to talk about. So these are new IPOs that came out this past week. This one, clear demand. It really, it got a bunch of buyers. There's a higher low here, and it created a higher high, and it closed with volume. So this is likely to continue. I'm gonna buy into this next week. I like IPOs because even though it's a bet, it's brand new. And if there's a deal that comes out shortly after the IPOs, it just skyrockets. And worst case scenario, your original investment that you bought from the opening of the IPO is going under, but you're like, it's long-term investment, right? What are the chances that this stock in a few years is way further than its IPO? Right? Like even in the bear market, you still buy that because it's brand new, and most companies that are now been released in an IPO in the past 4 or 5 years are still doing decent. So that is definitely something to keep your eye on. Same with this one. This one had more of a pop, instantly sold off. I'm not really sure if it's leading into more lows, but it's not as strong as the previous IPO. It is a biotech. It is first day of trading. That was on 20, 22nd. It is biotech, so it's a good defensive sector. It's something to consider. The only risk is, it's clinical. It's the regulation could put this stock at risk. But at the end of the day, it is an IPO. It have you have a range, and that can lead to a higher high. So worst case scenario, you get a better entry at $13. This guy is that's kind of I just look at first time I look at the chart. It does not look good, so we're gonna skip that. This guy, Qualcomm. I did see an article with I thought it was Nvidia or Meta. Somebody made a deal with Qualcomm last week, or the government actually. Yeah, it's the government that invested in Qualcomm last week too, um, so that I think they had a deal for some chips or defense chips. I forgot. I read it quickly, but there is a lot of potential here. Since it happened towards the end of the week on Friday, there's going to be some FOMO over the weekend. If the tech continues to rally, this is going to create a higher high. So there's potential here. The sell-off was not even there, so you can see traumas are up. I wouldn't be any concern until the next break under 20, which the next break should lead to 200, just because this one led to the um, the touch of 50. So usually you'll go 20, 50, 200, and then back to 50, back to 20, back and forth. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a massive extension. Like it's just too far apart. Until they start getting closer together, you'll probably see a continued trend. Volume is rising, price is rising. This should continue. Dell, same deal. Dell exploded. Earnings are coming. If this is pre-earning, maybe you can expect the sell-off, just like what happened to Nvidia. So it's either going to continue a little higher just before earnings, and then on earnings, it'll create a higher high and then sell off. So that's something to consider. If it does, obviously Qualcomm will follow, and AMD and other tech will follow. So it's also overextended off of its value area high. So it's really just it's a question of time, right? But at this closing on a Friday with this much clean candle, I mean, it's a full bodied candle. This is going to continue higher. There's very high likelihood that it's going to retest 50% of the range somewhere here and just go ballistic. So I would even say a retest of 263, possibly, but expect the 50% range retest and then a retest of resistance right before earnings. Or it'll just rally and then earnings will happen and then it'll create a higher high and then fall off. So this is mostly what I have for the for what I'm looking at for the week. I don't really see anything else. I'm gonna look at one more thing. Yeah, Tesla bounced really well from its lows. I would watch the retest of 420, 420.9. If it goes under again, it's likely going for previous week low, previous day low, or previous month high. Um, the one thing I'm seeing right away is the golden cross is coming. So these are getting really tight. It could either be a lower high going to lead into a lower low, or it's going to be a retest and then a complete expansion into the gap over here. You can see there's a lot of volume compounding over here. I would watch this more than a lower low. That's your golden cross. It just looks like it's compounding over here. And then there's even a high at 445, 450. So that is not there for no reason. The correlation to me just looks too good to be true. It's too good to be missed, rather. The bounce from POC just looked super clean. Lots of volume. Yeah, that's when they started throwing bullish volume. It's the fact that right after it came out of earnings, you got a lower low here, higher low, into a higher high, into another higher high, into another higher low. So the next step is a higher high. This range here, once it retests it again, it's gonna go for those highs here. I could even see 475. I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, this is a good opportunity here for option swings. Nvidia did sell off right after the earnings. Not like crazily. This is the mild sell off. But the issue here is that this could be a peak. It is a steep descent. If you channel this, it's likely to bounce somewhere. I would say it's going to bounce around the 210. I would expect a bounce, reversal, 210, 210.5, if not 205. But this seems to be pretty decent area. If it does go through with a lot of bearish volume, I mean, it is kind of a spike-ish. It's not that much of a spike compared to what we've seen here. Yeah, volume is not that much. This could just be another of these higher lows. I think it's going to retest this block here and then go just like it did here. So that's something to keep in mind. If we go for 208 or the 50T, it's going to bounce up back into the range. AMD, you have a full fetch of lows. My only concern with AMD is the traumas are so tied together. It just the huge trend sign is the expansion from price action in 200D. If it starts coming back down to retest 200T and it gets closer and closer to 50T, then there's likely going to be a reversal. But as far as right now, it looks pretty bullish. It is very overextended, so I would just be very careful. But I mean, the higher high was created and there's a range now, so a little retest of previous day high, somewhere there about 400. It'll it'll likely continue fetching higher. The crazy part with this is that back in April, is at, $78. So it's like it's pretty wild how it just skyrocketed from there. There's a lot of demand for it, so I mean, look at the POC is at 200, which is wild. It just exploded. Anything AI right now is just insanely bullish until it's not, right? So as far as right now, just be careful on the retests, keep purchasing, but protect yourself because at some point, once they stop buying, that's when the major sell off is going to happen. But for now, it needs to break a structure. It needs to, break the lows 393 before it starts going back down 336 and then 309. The first one will lead likely to a retest, second one, and then after that is there's two more. So I don't think it's gonna go back down to 281 just yet, but as far as I'm concerned, I want to see 200T getting closer to 50T so that we can actually expect a reversal. Other than that, that's really all I have. I didn't really look at anything else for the week. RGTI did go to equal highs, so I don't see anything else after. It could, it could retest 21, and then all the FOMO, the people that missed this one right here, come back in or try to find an opportunity. As far as right now, this is a spike in volume. This looks bullish on paper, but it is at a resistance. So to continue higher, it really needs more volume. It needs rising volume. So last time it had a spike, that was the top. Every time it does have a spike, there's a major retest of the lows. Every time. So I would expect a retest. I would expect somewhere, maybe there's a, I mean, it wasn't even a golden cross either. So yeah, if there's a retest of 22, I would buy 22 or 23. Just buy that, and then it's going to aim for 45 if there is more into it. The thing that I really like is that this is double bottom. There, yeah, 22.6. I think it's going to retest that range here and then kick off because all of this is buyers. So I mean, you could put your stop at the 200T and just let that tell you where the price is gonna want to go. So there's some potential here for continued. Other than that, I got Bitcoin. That was pretty interesting reversal off of or around the 200 trauma. That did lead to some buyers, but again, they hit a block of resistance here at the point of control, 77,000. What you're gonna want to see is 76,000, the reaction over here. If it finds buyer, then that's our higher low, and then it'll break above. But really, to me, I think it's going way, way down. I think it's going way, way down. The fact that it failed over here multiple times at the beginning of May, this is just a retest low. There's too much liquidity down here to not get fetched. I think it's going to 45, 50. So if you see 20T just started flickering lower, it's going to retrace with the price. And I mean, with all this bounce, it closed into a doji candle. There's no one that wants to buy. They don't want to buy. It bounced because it caught order flow, but that's it. There's nothing, there's no continuation. There's no demand for it. So because there's no demand, this is still aimed down. 20 is aimed down. That was just a regular bounce. I think this is a lower high. This is another lower high, and it's going to continue falling. So keep your eyes on that. And I do believe that's it for me for this week. I will be live trading mostly all week. I want to see what the end of the month is going to look like and the rebalancing of the portfolio. So there's going to be some opportunity here.